Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mr. BuildWealth. I am back at it again. It's been a little while since I've done one, but I just wanted to come on and, as always, share some information and resources that can help you get started with building wealth. And as always, before I get started, I wanted to punch in my website so that way you all will know where to find me. You'll know what I'm up to. You can definitely take a look at the blogs that I've posted. I've written things in a manner that should be easily, I'll say, understandable and digestible. And I really want people to take some time to just read. You know, sometimes people don't want to listen to the advice that I'm giving, the guidance I'm trying to share, but it is an easy way for you to just at your convenience take a look at the buildwealthmovement.com and let me know what you think. If you need to reach out and we need to get to work, let me know. Fill out the contact us section at the bottom of the page and I'll reach out. We'll connect and we'll see what kind of magic we can make happen. So the title for this session is My Credit Has Always Been A1. And I tend to share this story a lot. I don't think I've done it on the IGTV session just yet. So here it is today. And I thought about this story because I'm actually home in North Carolina. So if you all may notice, you'll see like animals in the background. So I'm a country boy and I have family members. My dad is the main one who we hunt and fish. And so you'll see some stuff behind me. So I thought this would be a pretty cool backdrop. And I may do another post about just my dad in a little while. But I thought about my credit journey and I thought about how I learned about credit. And it essentially was from a lady that's very near and dear to my heart. She's my mom. And actually, Mom, come say hello to the world.
Oh, Miss Dan.
Come right here. This way.
Hi.
All right, so I'm gonna tell y'all this credit story, and just know she's a real person. That's my mom.
Okay.
So my mom taught me about credit when I was 19 years old, and I'll tell you all the story like I tell it when I do workshops and seminars. We're at this point, like I'm in college. I understand that credit is important, and credit is one of the biggest hindrance of most people's like financial journey. They just can't figure it out, right? And credit is nothing but just paying people on time and paying them off and paying them like you gotta just pay people. That's the trick. So I was joking to her about, I know this is 19-year-old Jasper. I said, look, I need to have good credit because I heard women like a dude who has good credit and who has money. And so she sat me down and she kind of explained credit to me in 10 minutes. And from that moment on, to this day, I've never had bad credit. Despite all the ups and downs of my entrepreneurial endeavors, I have maintained an incredible credit score. So my credit's been A1 since day one because of the lady you just saw. So I hit her with like the usual questions like, hey, what should I be worried about as I get this credit card? And she said, look, there's going to be a few things you want to keep in mind. Oh, pause for a second. So at the time when I was in college, this was when like the credit card offers were like flooding your campus mailbox. And so every time I would go to check my mail, it was just all these credit card offers. I think they still do it today, but I don't think it was as bad as it was when I was in school. But again, most people get out of control in college and get bad credit like from the jump. So I was getting all these offers, and so I called my mom, and I was like, hey, what should I be doing here? And again, I asked her basic questions that I think a lot of us talk about, but we don't really like share it with everybody about how we go about getting a credit card. So I said, look, I heard, this is a big one, I heard I should be concerned about the interest rate. And she was like, nope. I was like, what? But everybody that I've talked to, that I've heard, that I've seen on TV, they always talk about like that interest will kill you. And she was like, look, the interest rate only applies if you keep a balance every month. Like the balance rolls over every single month. That's the only time you are going to suffer an interest charge. And I was like, what? I was like, come again? So she was like, look, if you max out your car, which people say is bad, if you pay off that balance before the next billing cycle, the interest rate will never apply to you. And I was like, So what if my interest rate was 1,000%? And she was like, boy, shut up. Use the card. Pay off the bill in full. The interest rate never applies to you. I was like, interesting. So, and then I said, well, how do I effectively use the card? Because I hear people get into trouble because they just swipe their card and don't think twice about the decisions that they make. So she said, look, make a small purchase, pay off the balance, rinse and repeat. That's it. That's the game, y'all. That. I said, so what should I do? So I had a car at the time in college, and she's like, look, go put gas in your car with the credit card, use it she said this too. You don't have to wait till the end of the billing cycle to make a payment. So once the transaction clears, you can submit a payment to your bank or credit union and pay off the bill. So that's what I did. I put gas in my car, and then I also had used it to, my teammates at the time, we went out to eat every Friday night. She was like, pay for that meal, pay for the gas, use the card for both of those, for nothing else. And after I would use the card, I would put it in a drawer. And she said, only pull it out when you're going to go get your gas or go out to eat with your friends. I said, okay. And I did that from my sophomore year in college until now. That's 35 now. I have had A1 credit since I started. I've gotten credit increases. I just thought it was so easy to listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about, but then understanding that credit isn't that hard. If it is challenging, let me know. But the way Esther Smith told me in that 10-minute conversation got me to realize that, society tells you a lot of bullshit about what you should and shouldn't do and how you should manage things. But if I was 19 years old and was able to commit to that type of a program, what's your excuse now for having bad credit and not paying your bills on time and not being able, I can't figure out why more of us can't just adopt this whole lifestyle of use your credit card and then pay off the bill. I just found it very easy at 19 and nothing has changed. And I find people who are I'm concerned about the interest rate. And I'm like, look, if you don't overspend and you pay off the bill, the interest rate never applies. And to this day, now I'll give you all a challenge. Tell a friend that you're about to go get a credit card. Bet money that 95% of the people you say that to will say, what's the interest rate? That'll be the first thing that they say. And the reason is because mentally, we're already telling ourselves we're going to overspend. Or we're already telling ourselves that if I get into a jam, an emergency, I'm going to use that credit card and then I may not be able to pay it off because I used the credit card for an emergency. And that happens to a lot of people. So I thought, you know what? I got to start just asking people that question. If I was going to go get a credit card, what's the first thing I should think about? And when somebody says interest rate, I already know they're not thinking right. They actually need to talk to me. They actually should schedule a 15-minute call with me and let me school you about credit and how to keep it perfect. It ain't that hard. And I think about just how that message of you should be worried about interest rates has been perpetuated over and over through generations. To this day, I still meet people when I talk about credit, they're like, what's the interest rate? I'm like, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to overspend. Look, interest rates do matter when you have big ticket items like a student loan, a mortgage, a car loan, a boat loan, a motorcycle loan. It does matter when you have debts that you're going to have for a long time. But credit is consumer spending. That is you. You have bad credit because of something you did. And yes, I understand there are circumstances where people who've been co-signers for friends or family, and the family member screwed your credit up. So that's another whole ball game. So I know we always feel like we're trying to help people out by co-signing, but it's probably better if I put it this way, if you're trying to help somebody, add them as an authorized user and do not give them the credit card. So you stay in full control of the credit, but they're riding your coattail as an authorized user. So as you're using your card responsibly and paying off the bill every month on time, then everybody wins. The family member who won't get it together, you're actually helping him or her by allowing them to be an authorized user. And you're staying in full control because you're disciplined and paying out that bill on time. And so your credit stays A1 and you're helping to help build them up. And all you're doing is signing them up, but you don't give them an actual card. See, when you sign up as a co-signer, now both of you have the freedom to use the credit or could also mess up the credit. So I've always had excellent credit because of my mom. And if people could get past credit, that will actually allow them to get to the fun stuff like investments and retirement planning and all these other real estate and all these other things we see all the time. But if you are still stuck with credit issues, this is one thing you have to push to the top of your priority list. Again, I know when I'm interacting with clients or prospective clients, it's an important thing in people's lives, but it's usually not the first. Like they'll say everything else and then they'll say, oh, my credit isn't that good or it needs some work. And so I almost want you to kind of prioritize credit because credit is a foundational component of your plan. It's like part of that foundation that if you don't have that together, I think it's going to be very challenging for you to learn and be able to focus on other parts of your financial plan when you still owe people money or you're paying people extra money that they do not deserve. And that extra money is that interest. So if you have some credit card debt, I want people to focus on like attacking it. Just attack it and watch your score go up in a relatively short amount of time just because you're focused. Again, I talked to my mom when I was 19 years old about credit. I try to share that story about the questions that I asked her with people who are in their 40s and 50s. I mean, it's sad that I keep running across people who they never got the memo. They never got it. I am fortunate enough to have gotten this memo about credit at 19, and I got it from a very credible source. My mom is tight with $1, tight with it. But she gave me the game at 19 just on credit. So if you've gotten some bad information about credit, and I know a lot of us have heard a lot over the years, call me. Like set up that 15-minute phone call with me. Hit the link in my bio because I need to debunk a lot of these myths. There's so many credit myths that I continue to see them and hear them from people. Like I hear it out of their mouths and I'm like, they never got the memo. Never. So if Mr. BuildWealth can give you that memo, please hit me up. Hit the link in that bio. 15 minutes. I don't need that long. It's 30 minutes. If you're having issues with credit, you gotta get past this so we can get to the fun stuff. I mean, think about it. Think about how much money you're paying everybody else. And so again, you're helping to fund their retirements, fund their investments, put their kids through private school. You're funding their retirement plans. I mean, you're paying somebody else all this hard-earned money that is coming into your bank account and it's going right out to somebody else. Wouldn't it be nice to get to a point where, and having some debt isn't all bad. It's just, I'd rather you have more money going into your assets. But if you cannot figure out this credit piece of the game, you got to hit me up. You got to hit somebody up. You have to do what it's going to take to improve your credit. And once it gets good, it's all about maintaining. You just got to maintain it. And if you can remember these basic concepts that I've talked about of using your card, pay it off in full, don't worry about the interest rate. Just if you spend $100, pay off $100. Just do that and rinse and repeat that process. And what you'll find is you'll have an incredible credit score and you'll just laugh at the progress. Like it doesn't take long. Like you're just gonna laugh and like, look how easy this was. I want to make financial planning easy. And credit is easy to me. But it's easy because I got it at 19. Some of y'all are too damn old and you still haven't figured out credit. And so you can't move forward in life because you stuck on credit. So look, holla at me. Let's talk this out. Let's talk this out. Let's figure out what we're going to do to improve your credit. Look, I tell people all the time, I don't work magic. Just schedule some time with me. Let me do an analysis of your situation, and I'm going to help you figure out a game plan. It's going to be very easy for me to figure this out. And if you don't commit to the plan, I tell my clients this all the time. Don't commit to the plan. You will not get the results that you want. I'm an expert in this, an expert. Been doing it for years. Personal credit, solid. Never had an issue. If your credit isn't A1, you need to talk to me today. Like, not tomorrow, not next week. I don't care if you're afraid or embarrassed about having jacked up credit. Let's just laugh about it together, and then let's figure out a strategy to improve it. And it's not going to be easy for some people, depending on how much of a mess you have. But just know, you got to believe you can get it up. You can do better. You can make this thing go. You can make it go up. So, look, as I'm kind of finishing up here, just hit me up, yo. Like, I know there are a lot of people who need me. And if you got your credit on point, tell your friends to holler at me, because I need them to understand that if you want to move forward and really be wealthy and do all these things you dream about, and your credit's jacked up, yo, you're not going to win. But I want to help you. So hit me up. Let's talk. Let's get moving. Let me make sure you get on point. I want you to have excellent credit. And once you get it, it's about maintaining. So as I'm finishing up here, I want people to check me out on YouTube. I've been sharing what I call my BuildWealth observations. They're like my diary entries from years and years of being a financial expert. And like it, share it, comment on them. You may be able to relate to some of the stories that I've shared, or you may know somebody who in your family like fits that description. So I want to do more of sharing these stories with people and bringing you all into my world. And the reason that I wanted my mom to come on. So first off, you all got a treat, because my mom don't do shit on the internet. Like, I did some begging this morning to get her to just show her face and say hello to the world. So shout out to Esther for coming through and saying hello to the people, because I talk about her, I talk about my family, and how, like, growing up in this house that I'm in right now shapes the way I do my business. Like, I care. I want to see people win. You know, sometimes it's going to be tough love I need to give you, but just know I'm giving you tough love because I care. I care about all my clients. I care about people who review all my stuff. You know, if you haven't read my book, all this shit, it's all in alignment with what I'm going to do, which is disrupt generational poverty. So if you about that life and you're trying to disrupt generational poverty and I can be of service to you, let me know. All right. So I will catch you all next time around. Appreciate you for tuning in.